Hey guys, welcome back. Today I want to talk about Blizzard's surprising Season of Mastery launch. This has been an impressive launch considering Blizzard's recent track record. I can think of so many different launches that did not go well, but it looks like Season of Mastery has gone very smoothly. We saw no queue, at least I didn't. I didn't appear to see any queue. I don't know if you did. There were no crashes. There was really no lag. There was a good number of players. There was tons of fighting over tagging mobs. Overall, I thought it was an amazing experience. Awesome launch. And I think that this is a really great sign because I want to talk about some of Blizzard's other launches. TBC particularly was a launch that stayed in my memory because it was constantly pushed back. This was probably one of the most frustrating things. If you remember back, TBC, Blizzard had announced the release date. They had pushed it back 2 hours. A few minutes later, they pushed it back 2 more hours. And then later, they pushed it back like 4 or 6 hours. And at that point, I feel like a lot of people just decided to go to bed and play it in the morning. I remember at 4 a.m. or something like that, I think they pushed it back again to something like 6 a.m. TBC launch, regardless, I remember it was not really the greatest launch. And I think it just really solidified the fact that Blizzard could not pull off launches. If you remember back to the WoW Classic initial launch, the first time we did WoW Classic, that had massive queues. It was literally impossible to play. I remember logging in after work. I'd go in and there'd just be a massive queue. I'd sit in that queue for 8 hours and then go to bed. And that was my first time Classic WoW experience, just sitting in a queue for 8 hours. Eventually, I got a remote desktop going on my phone so I could log in while I was still at work and get into that queue a little bit earlier. But it was crazy. The queues were crazy. Thinking back even further back, we remember Diablo 3, the error that we really just couldn't play during launch, just kept getting errors. And then thinking more recently, with the Diablo 2 Resurrected launch, we had major issues. Characters disappearing, apparently looking like they got deleted, not able to join games, saying there were issues with your internet, even though it was really from Blizzard's side. And quite frankly, these issues are still ongoing. If you've tried to play Diablo 2 Resurrected, there are still tons of issues. There's super long queues. So, all of that said, I'm very impressed that Blizzard has actually managed to pull off a successful Season of Mastery launch. I mean, to be fair, it's kind of almost the same game, but just some little changes. You'd think they'd be able to get it right this time around, and right they have. So I'm very happy with the Season of Mastery launch. Been enjoying that a lot. Hope you've been enjoying that too. Another big thing is the no crashes. The fact that there have been so many crashes with Blizzard's other games has been sort of like hurting the launch experience. You finally get back in, you think you're steady, and then you just drop out, and then you have to hop back in that queue again. That is immensely annoying. Especially when you log back in, there's just tons of lag. I know there was tons of lag issues with TBC, tons of lag issues with Diablo 2 Resurrected, and so far in Season of Mastery, I haven't encountered any lag, so this has been super cool. And the biggest point I've actually really enjoyed about the Season of Mastery launch is the fact that there are a good number of players. This is sort of the most exciting effect to me is just the sheer numbers. I absolutely love just, like making a new character. There are so many people in the starting zones. You struggle to tag mobs. It's actually just honestly, I think, one of my favorite parts of the launch experience. And this is actually something called the network effect. We were actually talking about this, me and my group of people, we were grouping up and leveling some new characters, about how like the only reason we're doing this is because everyone else is doing this. Like, we've played Classic WoW a lot. We've done pretty much everything there is to do in Classic WoW, but the fact that everyone is there and playing, you just want to be part of that experience. This is actually called the network effect, and it's why, people there's intrinsic value in the fact that there are tons of people there, and so you just want to be there because there's tons of people there. So that's sort of an interesting little thing for you guys, but I really enjoyed that there was a ton of people there. Again, like, I would not play World of Warcraft again on like a dead server, right? I don't think you would either. It's really just the fact that there was tons of people. So I was super happy to see the population numbers. I am excited to continue to play Season of Mastery while those population numbers are high. I know a lot of people have predicted, when is it going to die off, etc., etc. Honestly, I don't know when it's going to die off. I think, you could probably expect this to last, the hype to last a few months at least. We'll have to go from there. Speaking of a few months, Phase 2 is coming up in 2 months, Season of Mastery being that accelerated phase cycle. I'm super excited about, the accelerated phase cycle, but also I'm kind of curious, what is Phase 2 even going to be? As you all know, Dire Maul is already in the game, and if you look at what Phase 2 is bringing us, Phase 2 was supposed to bring Dire Maul in the world bosses, the 2 world bosses, and So far, you know, Dire Maul already being released, I'm not sure what there is to be super excited about with Phase 2. I mean, world bosses are fun and all, but I mean, you know, considering, you know, the populations, the guilds, the amount of people playing, you know, I don't know how many people actually participate in going and trying to get world bosses. I know me personally, I've not camped out. I don't have a huge, you know, guild or anything that goes out and tries to get those. So Phase 2 doesn't seem too exciting to me. I think Phase 1 is going to be all the hype. Phase 2, I feel like won't change too much because the PvP honor system's already in the game. Dire Maul's already in the game. So a lot of the exciting things are already in the game. You can go out and do. The dungeon set 0.5 is already in the game, so all those rogues already have plenty to do. I mean, all things said, you know, summarized, I think Phase 2 is, you know, not adding anything super significant. There is some great gear from the world bosses, don't get me wrong, but I think Phase 1 already has plenty of content, so moving on to Phase 2 in 2 months I think isn't going to be so big of a deal. But just wanted to point out that Phase 2 isn't really adding that much. And then from there, you know, we're going to see how excited people are to continue. I really think the highlight of Phase 1 is really going to be Molten Core, Onyxia, and really just seeing how players are able to tackle those with the accelerated leveling, with all the different challenges going on. I'm excited to watch all of that. But overall, just wanted to say, very, very surprising Season of Mastery launch. Hope you've enjoyed it. I think that it's been very, very sort of out of the ordinary with Blizzard actually doing a successful launch. I thought it was a great launch. So that's it for this video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.